first thing that you do is saute some onions, brown the onions, and some garlic. With some vegetable oil. So we're sauteing the onions and the garlic. That's the first step. Other than that, once you put everything in the pot, there's nothing else to do other than let it simmer for 4 hours. So right now, we're just sauteing, and we'll be back when it's done. Okay, so now it's translucent. It's not really browned. It's just translucent. That's the onions and the garlic. We have 2 cans of the Cento tomato puree. And anybody that wants to tell me this isn't homemade sauce, blah on you. Because the only thing different is if we would have got tomatoes and pureed them in a blender. And I'm not doing all that. Also, there's tomato paste. 2 cans of tomato paste. I'm not picky about brands. It can even be generic brands just to thicken up the sauce. I'm going to move this over to the bigger eye. Another can of tomato paste. So I put 4 cups and then 2 more cups for a total of 6 cups of water in the sauce. And then you're going to stir it up as good as you can. It's not heated through yet, so it's not going to really dissolve the tomato paste right away, but give it a chance. Okay. So while it's heating, I'm going to go grab my spices. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar. And again, I'm not going to hear anybody complaining that sugar doesn't belong in sauce, because this is how my great-grandmother and my great-aunts and my grandmother have been making it for years. So 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. It's heating right now. It hasn't started bubbling yet. We're going to do 2 bay leaves, but we're going to put it, I'm going to put it in my little holder, my strainer. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever put bay leaves in your anything, they're hard to find sometimes, and I don't like to lose them. So I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 bay leaves in the holder after I open this. So we have 1, 2, but I'm not going to put it in the sauce yet. Just going to close it up. Hold it there. The next thing that we need to put in is 1 teaspoon of basil. And I do this isn't my grandmother's recipe part, but I do put oregano in my sauce too, just to give it a little bit more herbs. My grandmother did not put oregano in her sauce, but it tastes fine with oregano. Again, I need to open it up again, so I'm going to put another teaspoon of oregano. And a 1/4 teaspoon of aniseed, and if you smell it, it kind of smells like licorice, but it gives such a good aroma to the house whenever it's cooking. A lot of people will skip the anise just because it's hard to get, but you can find it on Amazon. Just look for it. So we're going to go ahead and stir this in and get it to boiling. Also, most Italian families will put like a big chunk of Parmesan and let it melt into the sauce, or like the rind of a Parmesan. I don't do that, neither does my grandmother. She just would buy a Parmesan cheese, grated, put the whole thing in there, and stir it in. Again, we're still waiting for it to bubble. Make sure it gets little air pockets with that Parmesan. You just want to kind of break them up against the side. And this is when you can drop the strainer in. It's attached to the side, so you're not going to lose it. So we're still kind of waiting for it to boil. It's not going to be a hard boil, but it's going to start bubbling a little bit more. There's my little strainer for my bay leaves. You can also get them. They're really tea strainers, but you can also use them for herbs. I'm going to wait for a second just to get a little bit more bubbly. So it's bubbling. I'm taking it 2 eggs and I'm cracking them in the sauce. Do not stir, because if you stir, it's going to break them up more. Right now, we just kind of want them to be in the sauce so that they will form. They're not going to be like a hard-boiled egg, but when you stir later, they'll kind of fall apart. But it's called eggs in purgatory. My grandmother used to always put 2 eggs in the sauce, and then I always was one that vied to get it. So it's just kind of a family thing. I have had people say, you know, eggs don't belong in sauce, but it's up to you. It's good. A lot of times during the Depression, when they didn't have meat, which I didn't make this a meat sauce, I just made this the marinara, they would use eggs instead of meat just to have a little bit more sustenance. So we're letting it boil a little bit more. It's not going to come to a rolling boil, but it's going to get a little bit hot. Okay, we're going to put it on the lid just so it gets real hot there for a second. Maybe just about 30 seconds. I have a simmer, but I'm going to go ahead and just put it on low. And then we're just going to let it simmer for 4 hours. And it'll be done. So that's it. Then you just serve over pasta, any kind of pasta or spaghetti or whatnot. But this recipe has been passed down through several generations. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how it turns out.